The title of this column is The World is Fast by Thomas Friedman. The column is an economic approach to the most important problem that faces America in the author's opinion, the economic crisis, which coincidentally happened to go undiscussed in our most recent midterm elections. The 2014 midterm elections seem to be more focused on political rivalries rather than economic reform. Now that the government is politically divided, any reform seems impossible. Thomas Friedman, the author of this column, discusses three factors that are often overlooked when talking about the economy, hence why economic recovery has been so slow. The three factors are the global interdependence on other nations' economies for resources like coal, the Moore's Law, which states that the speed and power of microchips will double every 2 years and the power of the internet will increase dramatically, and the factor that is overlooked the most is the environment. The environment plays a vital role because of our dependence of its resources as well as our intentional destruction of it. Friedman is a New York Times foreign affairs columnist from 1995 and a former chief economic correspondent in both the Washington Bureau and in the White House. These two attributes to the speaker develops ethos in the column he writes. Being a foreign affairs columnist for almost 2 decades gives the speaker automatic ethos because he has evaluated foreign affairs of America and other countries for a very long time. Also, being a former economic correspondent gives him automatic ethos because he is very familiar with the different factors that affect the economy. The occasion for this column is the November 4, 2014 midterm elections. The audience of this column is people who are concerned with the recovery of the economy and its factors. Throughout the column, Friedman discusses each of the major factors that are attributed to the lack of recovery, which would interest this audience. The author's purpose in writing this column is to inform people of the factors that affect the recovery of the economy, or rather the lack of recovery, and to reiterate the need for effective leaders in government. The tone of this column that Friedman develops is informative and can be seen through the use of many rhetorical devices. The tone of this column that Friedman develops is informative and can be seen through the use of many rhetorical devices. One rhetorical device that Friedman uses is the use of allusion. Friedman makes an allusion to the effect of Mother Nature in Sao Paulo, a major city in Brazil. This provides a direct example of one of the factors that Friedman discusses. This develops ethos in Friedman's purpose and further strengthens his argument. Another rhetorical device that Friedman uses is the use of expert opinion in his column. Two major experts that Friedman uses is Jose Maria Cardoso da Silva, a Brazilian and senior advisor at Conservation International, and Paul Gidling, an Australian environmentalist and an author of a best-selling environmental book. The use of experts in his argument strengthens his argument by developing ethos and providing credibility in his argument. In conclusion, Thomas Friedman reveals to us that effective leaders are not put in places of power for economic reform, but rather political rivalries. This is a major flaw in our society and should be corrected, and it is up to us to elect leaders, effective leaders, for economic reform.